What is up, everyone? I am Kyle. I'm with Danny. Here, we are done. We are Podcast of X, and we are talking Fallen Angels today. Now, this is going to be it's going to be different, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just
something
definitely new.
definitely new, for
Well,
sure.
because I knew,
Definitely the tune.
because this first volume they've done since the 80s.
Yes. And we discussed before the podcast that it was a weird lineup on that old Fallen Angels with Sunspot and Boom Boom.
Oh yeah, when we were peeking at like what the original Fallen Angels lineup was, it's
Yeah.
definitely like the strangest, like going from like Vanisher to like Devil Dinosaur and Warlock,
Yeah.
and yet none of those people reprised their roles in volume. I guess the beginning of volume 2, Fallen Angels issue
Shoot.
1,
Yeah.
where we're going to be getting Psylocke, Young Cable, and
Young
then
Cable.
X-23.
Yep.
Very much, like I said, a X-Force like lineup, like a crew.
Very X-Force ish. Yeah.
Yeah, like a typical like Rogues Gallery of X-Force.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm ready to get into this. You ready to get into this?
Yeah, this
Fallen
is a sequel.
Angels.
What, 20 years or 30 years to make?
Yes, yeah. Was I don't know how big that fan base was before.
Well, it seems that the issue kind of centers on Psylocke. Well, it does center
This
on
one completely
Kwan, yeah, like the original
quite
OG
on, yeah.
Psylocke. So like it doesn't really play off of like the old Fallen Angels. From what I gathered from their storyline, it was kind of like a falling out between the New Mutants, and
Mhm.
like this was the rift that happened afterwards, and then like it kind of follows the characters developing and dealing with that. Whereas this just dives right into like, oh, this is what the current Psylocke is dealing with, and this is how she's adjusting to the new world. But for some reason, like that's the whole narrative of the book, and I don't really know why they went with Fallen Angels if it's just, I mean, it doesn't seem like she's rifting with the X-Men. It's more of like she's trying to mend things with herself and the X-Men in this. But yeah, we'll break that down going forward.
Yeah. So we start off, we're just kind of wandering onto a train station with a little girl, little Kwanan, right? And it's like we're in a dream, right? Essentially.
Yeah,
And
it's like a flashback or
a
like a mental.
flash, a
Yeah,
mental, is it a flashback or a dream? Because
I
uh
believe it was. I believe it was like a flat. It was kind of her like diving into her mental like. I guess you could say it's
she
like
was
dream walking.
meditating, right? We cut to her
Is it dream
meditating.
walking? Like,
Dream,
wouldn't it be
dream
considered
walking,
that?
I guess. Yeah, because she was meditating, right? We cut to her meditating after this
Yeah.
scene,
So
pretty
she's
much.
like diving through her own
So
memories,
this
but
is
it
her
is a
son.
sense like a flashback too.
Yeah, and she's kind of on the train, and she says, "Mercy is my name, but that is not my way." And she's just talking about her identity, more or less, who she is, where she comes from, and she gets consumed, right?
Yeah, because I guess it's touching on her old history of like how she developed as like an assassin over the years and like going around dealing with the Hand and all these more dark, nefarious organizations,
Right. She was trained by the hand.
all that kind of stuff. I believe it was something like that. I know she worked with them. She was created by like what, Fabian Nicieza. So
Yeah.
it's like during that kind of arc of like 90s like kind of extreme characters and like late 80s kind of transition characters. It was pretty cool to see like this ninja psychic warrior kind of get developed, but we don't really know too much about like her history proper because she got kind of overwritten with Betsy when the
Yes.
whole mind melding shenanigans went down and all that. So I guess they're just trying to flesh out a little more of like her background. Notice that image though, when she gets all angry and breaks the metal rod like off of
Yeah.
the wall. Like, doesn't she look like do you remember when Vigo the Carpathian possessed like Ray in Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
She's got like that giant forehead, the angry face, like
Yeah,
with the
it's the
paint.
forehead. It's the
Yeah.
forehead. Yeah, it's great.
I was like, it's your chance with Dan Aykroyd right there.
Right.
Once I saw that, I could not see it. I was just like, why is Vigo in there?
It was me.
Yeah, but
Oh, I can't unsee that now, though.
right?
Um,
It is. It's fucking Vigo Carpathian, man. I swear.
so
Uh,
what was her backstory before? So, essentially, she got mind melded, I guess, with Betsy Braddock, and like half of her memories went with Betsy, and half went with Quanon, right? As they switch bodies, switch consciousnesses, right?
It, I honestly don't remember 100% on how it went down, but I just know that like uh, somehow the mental state of Betsy was put, like her mind, her mental capacity and what represented her consciousness was put on top of Psylocke and like subletted for hers because she essentially was a husk. Like her psychic
Yeah.
consciousness was destroyed, and Betsy's was overwritten on top of it because her physical body no longer had a representation. That's what I vaguely remember. I might be wrong, but it's so weird, and they've retconned it so many times. It's hard to ever like think of her as anything else but just Psylocke. I always just was like, oh, she's just Psylocke. When I found out one day that she had a different body at one point, I was just like, oh, that's really weird. Oh, and her old costume is terrible. Oh, and she looked dumb.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is strange. They made a good call changing her. I like what they're doing now and kind of how they animate her a little bit. And like, it's kind of funny how the Captain Britain mask works, but the rest of the stuff works. And then
Sure.
the animation style is nice. But yeah, I like that they didn't like write off Kwan and we still get that cool Psylocke design, that iconic Psylocke design.
Yeah. So they're still keeping the old fans happy, which is nice. Which I dig because Psylocke is one of my mains on Marvel vs. Capcom 2. For sure. She's on my main lineup.
Oh, dude, that's funny. Cable's on mine.
I have Cable. No, Cable, it's either Cable or Sentinel. I switched those two out. And then Magneto. So Magneto, Psylocke, and usually Cable, but sometimes Sentinel.
I did Cable, Silver Samurai, and then Spiral.
Nice. Good lineup. There you go. There's our lineup. Fight us, folks. Find us. We're calling you out. We're probably
Let's
gonna
do some Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and get stomped.
I will get
Oh, that's
destroyed. Yeah, I would get so wrecked. Um, but yeah, so we're getting more of her backstory kind of fleshed out, and she's getting consumed by this thing. Her eyes are like very black and like bleeding, which is an interesting design choice. She busts through. She's still on the train. She busts through to the, I guess, the conductor, and just kind of knocks them out. And she says, "I was not free then," and then she says, "But I am free now." And she kind of says, screams out Apoth, or not even screams out, just kind of states Apoth. And this is kind of like a memory that is supposed to be uh, a key moment that she's supposed to bring back, whatever she's doing, whether this is a dream or a memory or her meditating. But as this happens, the train gets derailed and things get out of hand. And um,
We're left wondering, did Psylocke survive?
did Psylocke survive this outcome? Will we know? Find out next week, folks. Um,
As they spoil it in the next three panels, and
in the
it's like
next three panels,
you're
right?
like, oh yeah, that was many many years ago, and she's now grown up, and of course she survived. And all right, it's
Sure.
a very weird way to end it, though. I like it where it was just boom, is she dead? No, she's fine.
Yes. And we get the lineup, and the lineups: Psylocke, Magneto, Mr. Sinister, Cable, X-23, and Captain Britain. Now, I like this line on this page. The last paragraph. New bonds are forged among mutant kind as old wounds heal, but the drums of war still beat some. And I guess that's supposed to be the tone of what this should be, I feel. It's kind of its thesis right there.
Yeah, yeah.
What we should
It
expect.
it kind of is a precursor for all the like the ramping up they're starting to do with this character and like her kind of story and the X-Men mythos now.
Yeah. Um, but yes, moving forward, we're met with good old Betsy, right?
Nope, that's
Or
still
no,
Quan,
no,
right?
still Quanon, right? No,
Yeah,
that's Betsy. This one's Betsy, right?
oh yeah, that she gets that one little before they cut to her, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, because she's got the purple hair. For a second
yeah.
there, I was like, wait,
She has the deep hair, and then yeah, and she's just she's crackoing it up, hanging out with all the weird mutant things. She's like a kind of like a Disney character. But we cut to Conan in the next panel,
why'd
who's
she
even
bloodlet on that
more
flower to feed it though? Did you notice
right.
that?
Oh yeah, she just like dropped some blood on some flour, man. Eat some blood. Take my mutant DNA. Evolve faster. I don't know.
It was really
Um,
strange
odd
because it
choice.
because it caused that flower to sprout, and then like a butterfly showed up to her, and I guess it seems like she's having like a long distance like kind of connection with the original Psylocke Guan,
Hmm.
because now it cuts to her and she's just kind of meditating.
She's meditating with butterflies surrounding her like a Disney character.
Yeah.
Um, um,
But then
and
she's struck by some sort of internal like nonsense that kind of shakes her out of her meditation.
yes, and we see like this blackness, and it's kind of like disrupting her, and it's speaking to her, right? Do not ask my name, right? And telling her like
It brings up
Xavier's,
Apoth again.
yeah, and it brings up Apoth, and it even says like you will die. Like Xavier's like piece is like not gonna save you, more or less. And apoth is the what's the tetragrammaton? Have you ever heard that word? Tetragrammaton?
No.
It's a new word
No.
right there. Never heard of that.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a street.
the new name of God. I wonder if but yeah. So we hear this name Apoth again, right? And even Quanon kind of notices this. She falls out of her hovering state, and she even's like Apoth. She questions it because she's remembering that memory, right?
Yeah, it seems like she's unlocking a lot of her existence after she experienced all this psychic trauma over the years. It seems like this is her trying to cope with it and being her own self again and trying to rebuild her identity. But it looks like
Yes.
she's unlocking a lot of strange memories that she locked away. It seems like there's even like literally
Who
like
like? Do you see
like
like
a
in this?
person inside her head that she's got like trapped in like
Yeah.
the image of someone that she can't quite remember, but she knows they're in
It's
like
like
there's something echoing in
faceless person.
her
Yeah.
being.
Interesting. But we after that we cut to House of M, and we're met with the majestic. Look at this majestic prince right here. That is Magneto. This like shot of him, just like this wide angle, very low shot of him on his throne. And he's just
Very
like
nice throne, very fitting.
right, very fitting for Magneto. And he's just all like a vision. Do you have a source, pretty much? And she says it wasn't a dream, more or less. And he's even like, what's your name? I don't even know what to call you after all this. Even the characters are just like, I don't know what's happening between you and the other
We get
girl.
another one of those moments that it's like the weird, like people trying to decide on what to go by and what to be called, and like it
Yeah.
seems like every issue or every other issue will get this like weird stumbling of names. It was kind of funny at first, but it's like starting to hit a point where it's like it's
Yeah.
starting to weigh a little, like where
A
it's like
little bit.
okay, all right, do we have to we've acknowledged the elephant in the room, but are we going to keep beating it now?
I guess you kind of got to, but I don't know. Just do it. I guess don't mention. Don't beat it into the floor. Um.
But it seems like she wants to circumvent the rules here with Krakoa and like find a
Yeah.
way to get out. I mean, they're dealing with the lockdown and the fallout from all the stuff with like Charles and what happened in the last
Exactly.
issue. Yeah, so it's
Yes.
like these are tough times. But I mean, if anyone can kind of help people skirt the rules of anything or get out of a place they don't want to be, Magneto's the go-to guy. I mean, he literally escaped a concentration camp, so
Yeah.
he's got your back. He's
He
like,
knows
hey, if you
something.
want to leave, I ain't gonna keep you here.
So yeah, so remember last week in X Force was that? No, that was yes, that was
Yeah,
last
X
week.
Force. Yeah,
Uh
that was the last issue before this week.
Charles Xavier was shot and killed. And so we are to assume by this one line by Magneto that the entire island's on lockdown after this event, which is cool that everything's kind of keeping in pace, kind of tying in without getting too out of hand. We'll see how long this lasts with these little tidbits of tie-ins here and there before
Exactly.
people are like, this is my toys now. I'm playing with them.
We're gonna reboot the whole thing.
Yeah.
Now death matters again, and we're gonna kill off everyone. Ha! Someone's gonna do that. Someone's gonna come along and flip that switch.
You're right. So yeah, he was just all like, maybe you should go talk to and he's being very like subtle. He's just like, maybe you'll go find something sinister. You're this way. Huh?
Yeah,
Sinister. You get me?
he's being
Nudge,
all
nudge,
coy with
nudge.
her.
Yeah.
It's like, what does it matter? Just tell her.
Yeah.
Like,
Just tell me. Come on. You don't have to play these games. What are you being recorded? Are they being recorded? Maybe they are. Maybe he knows.
yeah, maybe it's like, well, they're always psychically being monitored. Maybe that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But he's got his helmet on, so that should give him leeway.
Right? The
I
helmet.
think it's I think
Take
it's more of like he's in a such a position of power and like leadership that he's trying not to overtly do things to subvert or like circumvent the rules that they're trying to put forth. So he's delegating to Sinister, and he's like,
yeah.
just go to Sinister. He'll help you get out of this island. He comes and goes as he pleases, anyways. He's fucking Nathaniel Essex. Like no one can tie that guy down,
Yeah.
especially the new Nathaniel. He's all ridiculous, like off the wall. Like not even the fourth wall can tie that guy down.
Yeah. But she's all like, yeah, cool, okay, thank you. And he's just all like, yeah, no, don't thank me. We just talked about this. Don't do this. I wasn't here. You didn't see me. We didn't talk. Nothing.
Get out of my throne room. I have subterfuge to hide in. As it starts to darken around his throne and his face.
Right.
He's like, I've already entered my brooding mode.
Yeah,
Leave.
look at it. Look at it. Look at the dark shadows. You can't
Yeah,
see my
look at it's
eyes
consuming
anymore.
his face. He's like, you can't even see my eyes. Get out
Can't
of
see
here.
nothing. Get out. Go. Leave.
I
Leave.
showed you my eyes once. That's it. They've already been put away. That was 30 panels ago. Get back.
Come on. But we cut to Bar Sinister after that, and he's like, "Yo, what's up? What's going on?" And she mentions Zapoth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's just all like, "What do you need from us? What do you need? What's going on?" Um, and she wants a passage out, pretty much.
Yeah, he's like, you need help breaking the laws, eh? All right. I might be able to do something.
Yeah, and
He's
they
like,
even
but nature has no law, so let's see what we can do.
yeah, and they even have a name moment again, like in another page, in another two panels. They're like, "Don't call me Quanon. It's a shackle, not a name." And I'm just like, "Come on, guys, come on, move it along, move it along here. We get it, we get it."
I wonder if Betsy and her orchestrated the whole like, all right, you get Psylocke, I'll just be Betsy, and like,
Right.
or did they just decide that on their own? I wonder if they like talked shop. She's like, I like Psylocke, I want to keep it, and then Kwan's like, no, that I don't want to take back my slave name or anything like that, so I'll be Psylocke. You got to take my body, I'm keeping the name. Like, so Betsy's like, fine, I'll just be Betsy.
Right.
She doesn't even have like a mutant code name. That's funny. She's just using her regular name.
And then she gets super serious too. You get a close up on her eye, and she's just like, "Sinister, I'm trying to prevent the apocalypse." And you're just like, calm down, girl. You had a vision or a whatever it was, a mind situation.
Premonition.
This is nothing to be. We've been through this. Come on, 60 years of X-Men. Come on, we've done this.
this this is an old pony. Like it's funny too because she has like a good understanding of all the ins and outs of Mister Sinister. Like when she walks in, she was literally calling him out on like she's like, I need help breaking some laws, and I know you're good at breaking the laws of nature and stuff. And he's like, just like having this funny back and forth with her, and then she finally gets tired of it, and she's just like pulls the energy blade on him, like her little psychic blade, and she's like, "Let's get through with it, all right? You're either gonna help me or I'm gonna mess you up." I like this. This is like a no gruff like moment here where Psylocke is on a mission, and she's not gonna be derailed by no one, not
Right.
even Mister Sinister's nonsense and witty banner.
It's funny.
He's like, "All right, chill out, chill out." She's close to the face on that one though. She was like that lop off his brain.
And then he
We get
essentially
time jump.
says, yeah, we get a time jump um to Japan years ago, right? And it's another flashback of her.
Yeah, it's kind
Uh
of more building blocks. Like it's this is one of those like tropey
slowly,
comics where it's like as they reestablish a character again, they flesh out their canon a little
yeah,
more as the issue goes on. So it's like they're telling two stories at the same time, like her past and then the fallen angel stories or story that's going on.
exactly, yeah. And I guess we're just learning more about this version of her. Um but yeah, he's with the wise old master, right? Wise old master is like, you are the caterpillar, soft and ugly and useless, but you will become a butterfly. And then he pokes her in the head. Weird, weird moment, but I guess it's a moment that stuck with her.
It's strange though, because the whole psychic butterfly nonsense that's always been like Betsy's thing. So it's weird
Right?
how they tied that
I'm
into
so
Psylocke's
confused.
mythology.
Yeah, but here we are.
But yeah, and I guess she was able to work something out. Like Sinister was saying, he's found something that might be able to work for her, and she's now trying to put together a team.
Put getting the team together. I love all this. All at least all these like first issues is all these cool like uh panels where we get to see the team getting together. I always love the team getting together. You can't
Yeah,
go
the team
wrong.
building montage.
Yes. But we cut to we get some people dancing, just hanging out by the fire, having a good time, partying, just
That
woo.
year long orgy and party is still
Yeah,
going on in
still
Krakoa.
happening. Like it doesn't end. You just go to work, but you then once you're after off work, you just go to the orgy. You go back to the orgy.
I want to believe that all these issues are going on in like concordance with each other and like simultaneously, but at the same time, I want to believe that like each day is just one issue. So like it's just a nonstop week long party that
Still
everyone's
happening.
having all the
Yeah.
time. Just everyone's just tired, but they're just like, we could do this because our weird Krakoan drugs. We can just party all the time.
Yeah. And by the fire is Laura, right? We're met with X-23, and Cable approaches her, and she's just like, "Don't like dancing? You don't like music?"
You don't like to get
And
jiggy with it, Laura?
you're
What's
like,
wrong?
"Wait, what's going on? What's happening? Thought you were fun." Kind of negging her on a little bit. It's like, "What's going on over here?" And it kind of works. She gets mad, right? He's like, don't make promises you can't keep." And then she's like, "Never." And you see her fist, good old fist. And then where does that fist go? Right to his nose, right to his nose. And they dance the dance of battle.
Yeah, they started playing Mortal Kombat in the
Yeah,
background as the
straight
fire
up.
like got like shot up into the sky, and they just started wailing on each other.
Yeah,
Yeah, but rightfully so. Young Cable gets his ass kicked.
yeah.
He may have been born on the battlefield, or he may have grew up on the battlefield, but she was born to fight on the battlefield. She was bred for it. She's a weapon, less than an actual person.
Yeah. And then this next line kind of is like what I my mantra when I say when I wake up. Cable's like, feel better, and she's just like, I don't feel anything. But she's like, yeah, but nothing here matters. Mutants have never been this safe, and safety sucks. She's just bored because everyone's safe. It doesn't feel right to her. She's
I
like,
wish we had a plot device that would pick up right now that would fix that, and
right?
then enter
What do
Psylocke.
you know? Enter Psylocke. Here she is to save the day. And she's just like, Laura Kinney, Nathan Summers. My name's Psylocke. And
And this
then,
is your name is Kwan.
yeah, and this is like her, yeah, that's what it is. So this is like her memories, right? Kind of
Yeah,
flashback.
it's going back to
It's getting
that.
in, it's digging in as she's doing this.
Yeah, it's
It's
like
creeping
poking
in.
at her, and she's just like, I hate that name.
She's like, now memories. It's like Tom Cruise fighting the gay thoughts.
He's running away from him. Oh Jesus. Yeah, she's definitely got some damage going on here that she's working her way through as the issue
Sure.
goes on. See, it's like now it's not even like going every other page. It's like literally the panels of her past and her her character development are like fighting the current story, like for time.
And she just says meet me at this location. It's like a reservoir, and they're all like, I don't think she's doing well. Pretty
Yeah, I
much.
like how Betsy tried to talk to her. She's just
Yeah.
like, I don't need to
And
talk.
she's like, nah, I'm good, leaving. And
Sorry about piloting your body for like, like 30 years almost. How you
yeah,
doing? It's just
what's
like, dude,
up?
let's not make that small talk. Like, that's just weird.
Nope. We're not
Let's
gonna
just keep
talk.
going.
I'm just gonna walk by you every time I see you. We're gonna have this type of relationship on Krakoa. Uh, but we cut to the reservoir. Um, and at the reservoir, we're met with Laura, Kenny, Nathan Summers, Cable, and Psylocke getting together, forming the team. Here it is.
Why
Uh,
do you think they went with this team? Like,
why do I think because, like I said earlier, I feel like they're misfits. They're outcasts.
I
They
guess.
they don't have a place. They needed a place for these people, and they made them all together. They put them together. Because think about it, like you got
I
Betsy, right? You got Betsy back, right? But what do we do with Quanon, right? We have this like kind of byproduct of her leaving Quanon's body. You got Laura's just kind of there, right? She's just kind of the like even in this issue, she's gonna even have a line where she's like kind of contrarian, not contrarian, but like it's contrived. But she says, "I've been in the shadows of Wolverine for or of Logan for too long, or something like that." And
okay.
so like it could be,
Oh, I see that connection now because she's like the lead to Wolverine, Cable's the lead to the old Cable, and then Psylocke is like is tied to Betsy. So
yeah.
okay, I could see why this team makes sense and why they put these people
I
together.
mean, that's just me tying a red string and making connections. I don't know if that's for sure, but it's my assumption, right? Honestly, I think it's an editorial thing. They're just like, what do we do with these characters?
But why did they pick the Fallen Angels storyline? Because I feel, or moniker to throw it under. Because from what I gathered, reading the old Fallen Angels, it was all like pretty up and up, like New Mutant characters
Right.
had like a fallout. So it would be like if they took X-Men characters or prominent New Mutants characters and then made a side comic about them after they had a huge rift and called that Fallen Angels, like that would fit. But this, it's like I feel like they didn't know what to do with these weird characters, and they had that weird connection where they're all kind of like the echo of like a mainline character, a main
Yeah.
story X-Men counterpart, and then they're just like, well, let's put it under Fallen Angels because, but these guys weren't really fallen angels; they were all pretty fallen before they raised to limelight. So I don't know. It does seem like a mislabeling, but I do understand the team. I do see why they put them together now. I
Yeah.
just don't understand why they called this title. But yeah, the team fits. I do like that they're using them like this, and like I said earlier, it echoes kind of a X-Force team vibe, and they're definitely getting into that kind of style of mission. So I'm all down for it so far.
Um, and they talk, and Laura wants to talk to Psylocke outside, away from Cable, and she tells Psylocke that she doesn't want Cable to go, pretty much, because he's like a child of war, and he'll like follow any rules or orders given type of situation. She doesn't want that for him, more or less.
She tried to baby him. It's really weird. It's like she's taking this approach to
Yeah,
like trying to. It almost feels like it's too late, though. I mean, he literally killed the older version. He killed himself. Like I don't really
killed
feel like there's
himself. Yeah,
like, and he's already pretty grown. Like I don't feel that this like idealistic child like life or sheltered livelihood is like there for is necessary. Like
right.
he's in the deep end. Like throwing him back to the shallow end seems kind of like I don't know, asinine, or like it's like she's patronizing him almost. It's just like, okay. And he's not gonna be down for it. I mean, the dude's pompous. He literally was just like, I'm gonna fix time and kill myself to repair time, because if I don't, things are gonna go awry. And it's like that's kind of the weight he's dealt with. So what's he gonna do? Listen to you if you tell him to do something? He literally like will fuck with time. So how's he gonna listen to you? It seems like Laura's misreading like him really bad in the beginning, which she's usually pretty intuitive with people, but the way they're writing in this dynamic now, it's like it's kind of strange. Like they're trying to create group turmoil where there doesn't even necessarily need to be.
Yeah, there really doesn't. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Like they're trying to treat like Bobby like he's like the young X-Men, bright-eyed and like innocent, but it's fucking Cable from the future still. Like he's murdered. He's got blood on his hands.
Or
So
they're setting up that he's going to die in the future.
oh yeah,
Like
maybe they're trying to
I don't want him to go, but he is gonna go, and then he's gonna end up dying.
and they're trying to like kind of put the focus on that where they're
Could
like, oh,
be.
it was his last. He was gonna retire. It was his last
This is
day.
his last day before
Just
retirement.
one more job.
No, he had one more case to crack.
Yeah.
Uh, oh man. Maybe I don't know. It's a good question. A good question for a con. Um, let's and then we cut to essentially Tokyo, right? Wait, no, what happens? Sh- Cable does Cable go? Cable still go? No, Cable
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
They
Cable still goes.
yeah, they still come to like it pretty much brings it down to like, well, this is still going down anyways, and they can't really derail it. Like he's gonna come along.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, you can't convince him. So then they jump to
So yeah,
Tokyo in Japan.
we cut to Tokyo, and it's raining, and we're just hanging out, and we see Laura and Psylocke, and she's just all like trying to trace her steps, right? Talking about the train explosion and whatnot.
Yeah, they're going through her old memories because we get kind of like that flashback to when she was younger and still a kid, and they kind of explain like what's going on and how her powers are the way they are, because they deal with this like weird Japanese syndicate that's like dabbling in overclock. Like it's this. There's a lot of weird like Breaking Bad style subplots built into like a lot of the House and Powers and like current X-Men storylines,
Over
because the
what?
overclock is like that music that weird I guess you would say like a chemical that makes your mutant powers go into overdrive and they make you a
Yes,
lot stronger. Like I
yes.
think Kid Omega took it at one point, and a couple other people have used it before. But that's what's I think that's why her eyes are bleeding black.
Mm,
Like I think that's what that came from, was the drug.
the
And
overclock.
they're yeah, the overclock, and they're kind of and she's kind of going through the memories of like what that's all tied to. And of course, then they bring in the butterfly again, and she's got like a tattoo of it, and I'm like, where did
Yep.
that come from?
Let me see the butterfly, and then she's just kind of like zoning out. She's losing it, man. She's losing it right in the middle of the mission, right? And
Yeah.
Laura's just all like, "Come on, keep it together." Keep it together. And then we go into a bigger like memory, and we see a crying Laura. I mean, not Laura. A crying Psylocke,
Yeah.
looking at a baby. And this guy, someone's holding her, and just like, look at this baby, look at this
Yeah.
baby.
Remember this sadness, remember this pain,
Yeah,
remember all this. You could use it later. It's gonna be great. We're gonna make you into an awesome killing machine.
exactly. And
She can't hack it anymore. She
no,
snaps.
she snaps, and then
She
bam,
she snaps like a
slices
thin twig.
slices the overclock. Um, and then just is like, "Where's the APA?" She wants to know, and that's Laura's cue. She's just like, "All right, I'm whipping out the claws, the bite claws."
And she's whipping out that magneto subterfuge. Look at it. You can't even see her eyes.
Nope. Look at that gun,
Dude.
casted, shrouded in the shadows.
But then the lady gets her, oh my gosh, her mind blown so bad that the sunglasses she's wearing just shatter
Yeah. Just
into like
butterfly,
butterflies too coming out
butterflies.
of it. It's so
Yeah.
funny. It's just like, what's happening?
What is going on? No.
She just really mind rapes her so bad, and it's like, I know those are all psychic images coming out of her, but it must look kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if other people could see that. Like, she's like spitting out psychic butterflies, and her head is just like exploding into psychic
Yeah.
power. I wonder if that's like a visual thing that's like explaining to everyone else in the room while they're there. If it's just like only Psylocke can see it while she's doing it.
Right.
Because that'd be crazy to see. Well, I mean, I guess they're seeing her like head start to open up and like her glasses explode. They're
Right.
seeing that at least. Well, I
True.
guess if she physically manifests the psychic weapons as like objects, I guess people can see it too. Because
Mhm.
everyone can usually see Kid Omega's weapons and Betsy's weapons. So there you go.
There you go,
Yeah.
folks. And then Laura's just like, what's going on? I'm just kind of winging it. Give me a plan here. And and then what happens? She just touches her, with her hand, and then she says, "You have a daughter." Oh God, and I'm kind of confused by that line. What is she referring to in this particular moment?
What would oh, I think she's like she's now got the information like I think Psylocke shared her memories with
Right.
X-23.
Yeah.
So when that touch happened, X-23 was just like, "Oh, you're losing it because you have like history with these people and like they dealt with like stuff that went down with your daughter in the past and like they
Gotcha.
tortured you by
Okay. So
using her
she's just
and like
suffering
now
from the old memories of okay,
yeah,
from
and
that
so
day.
now Laura gets it. Yeah. It almost feels like these things like the whole mission got kind of turned on its head like they were supposed to play it a certain way and it turned out that Psylocke is just out for revenge now, and she's just trying to turn things around. Because like even the people that like known her was just like, "Wow, we haven't seen you in a while. We never expect you to be around here again." And then Psylocke is instantly just like, "Breakdown! I'm fucking murking you people, and I'm gonna get my revenge and restitution however I want." And now Laura's just like, "Oh man, this woman's on a warpath. Fuck, this mission has gone to shit. This is not what I signed up for. Fucking a."
Yeah. Yeah. She's not happy. For sure. Then we cut to the next page, and it just describes the overclock a little bit, and it just lets you know that it's a virtual narcotic that's sold on the black market. It's a device that hacks into your central nervous system and creates a sense of euphoria. Um, what else? The user's perception of time being much slower this while using the overclock. Also, some people also have reported feelings like months have passed in the span of minutes. Like Salvia.
Ah, all right.
Salvia.
I always thought it was that thing that like overpowered, like it like jumped up mutants and made them stronger. I
I think
guess
it
maybe
was, right? I think that was the tool.
they changed it.
Right? Yeah, this could be a retcon for it. It was
Possible, yeah.
so
Maybe they
like
changed it
minor
up.
though that I don't even know. I might I'm trying to think in the past. I What's it called? The overclock?
They've
The
had arcs with
overpower?
it, but it was a long time
Yeah,
ago. It might have not even been called Overclock. It might
it
have had another name. Like it
could
was
have
like
another name. I know what you're talking about.
Overdrive or something. Mutant Overs. Yeah, it would just like cause them to OD on it or get
Super
addicted to it.
overdrive.
Super duper
Power
overdrive fun
overload.
time drug. Now it just seems like, yeah, like then the modern interpretation is like creating a kind of salvia-esque like ability for you to just function in like a state that seems like time is no longer relevant.
Yeah.
It seems like rough times.
Rough times, bro. Rough times.
Banned by the EU.
Yeah, banned by the EU. To date, no deaths have been reported from overclock usage, but users are having longer highs and more intense experiences. The International Association of Technology states that approximately 1 out of every 25 overclock heavy users, more than 2 experiences a month, are at risk of severe psychological trauma. But fuck that, abuse it. Woo!
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want some psychological trauma? Am I right?
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, I'm down.
Just does not seem like it's really worth it.
Yeah. And we cut to outside of Tokyo. And we're on a farm. Just walking. We see some feet. Awesome feet, right? Good feet drawing, bro.
Look at those feet.
Right? But they're kind of walking up onto the barn and or a barn, and this is what they kind of she thinks she found in that one person's mind, and she kind of opens the door. She being Psylocke, right?
Yeah.
And she opens to find four, five. I could count 5 children, all
Exactly.
kind of shrouded in shadows or shrouded with this darkness in their eyes.
Yeah, it's like pouring out. So they're on like the overclock stuff too. So it's like making
Yeah,
their eyes bleed that weird viscous fluid.
viscous fluid. Yeah, it's interesting. Um, but they just try to help them pretty much. And as they try to help them,
They seize out.
they're just like, no. It's like that one kid where like they're really cool until you get into their safe zone, and they're just like, no, no, and just like, oh damn, calm dude down. Fuck.
Like, don't tell me to relax. Ah!
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work out.
Not at all. And we have she says we have to find who did this, and then we get a voice. I did this, and we see hands reaching out, and
Looks
it's
like
just a
some,
child,
yeah,
and it
another
calls
one of the
itself
kids.
the speaker. So it's just probably a voice of someone else. And it refers to itself as the song mutant.
Song, comma mutant. I think
Song,
he's
comma.
saying, "I am the song mutant," and talking to
Gotcha.
like it's like referring to her.
So
So
he's a
some
bard.
kid, just some weird kid. But I
Oh,
think it's
Talon.
the voice is Apoth though.
It is speaking for Apoth, right? Or
Yeah.
Apoth is speaking through this child, pretty
Yeah,
much.
we kind of get another like lead into this Apoth character that's so significant to Psylocke's history.
Yeah. And she's just like, you cowards, you're doing this to children. And they're just all like, we understand. We killed a lot of children, so we empathize. And you're like, that's weird.
But it's like there are some weird like organization that wants to, or it's like he's talking about like they want the mutants gone because he wants the humans to or the
Yeah.
world to finally evolve. For some reason, Apoth is under the impression that without mutants, the world can evolve, and it
Which,
just wants and he just wants, or whatever they are, wants to be left alone in peace to do so, which is such a strange thing to do because I mean, like, if you want to be left alone, then why were you messing? If you don't want to be bothered by mutants, then why do you have Psylocke's kid? Like, she's obviously gonna come after you.
right. Um, That's interesting. I don't know what they're going for there, right? Because wouldn't mutants be the next step in evolution?
They're
So
probably another human radicalist group that's got some crazy way of controlling people.
maybe, or maybe this is the first seeds of the techno organic virus, and we're seeing
Oh, the human ascension?
the ascension, the start of ascension through these like devices. It's just one tool. I'm sure it's going to be many different approaches, different type of technology and tools used to get there, but I think we're
That's
going to
fair.
see it seeded at least in these early years a little bit.
That's a
I don't
fair
know. If,
assumption.
I don't know if
This could be a good start.
yeah, that's probably jumping a little too much. I think we need more
But you might be
information.
picking up on something though.
Could be.
As they keep this pretty vague, there really isn't too
Yeah.
much explain like of who Apoth really is and what's going on right here. All we know is he could possess children through the overclock device, it seems.
Yeah. And we cut to
Flashback.
fucking butterflies.
Those aren't butterflies, those are leaves.
Those are leaves in the wind. Slices that shit. And what do we get from this? This
That
flashback, just kind of another quote,
that just
essentially.
it they're tying more of the butterfly iconography to Psylocke using this
Eh,
flashback again to kind of really beat that over the head. And also, it's just to show that, like, oh, she's a badass in her own right. She's like a samurai. She's like a ninja. She's got all this great tutelage and like history of like being trained to be an amazing warrior. But there's something deeper and darker inside her, and the world that she lives in is also deeper and darker than she
right.
realizes. So that's really what a lot of this stuff is hinting at. A lot of these flashbacks. But I mean, it's like okay, cool, I guess. I mean, if you really want to get Psylocke back up to speed, but I mean, we never really needed it. She could have just they could have hit the ground running with her, and I'd have been fine with it.
Sure. I would have been fine if they're just like, all right, let's get into it. This is it.
Should
You
have just
know?
thrown her back into X Force and just said, "We got some killing to do."
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But I mean, it's still a cool scene. I do like the imagery with like
I do
how
like it. Oh,
they're
it's
using the
beautiful.
leaves to look kind of like
Absolutely.
yeah,
Her in that very fake, very large sun that does
yeah.
not exist
It's
somewhere.
just like 5 feet away from her.
The stuff. Yeah, it's gonna kill her. It's so close. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Um, burn up the earth. It's beautiful. Yeah, it looks beautiful. Dark shadows. The old, uh, the old sensei is shrouded in shadows. I dig that. Doesn't really show his face.
Yeah, I'm wondering who that is. You know, it'd be cool if it's like a stick or something like that. Like
Oh, weird. Yeah.
that'd be interesting because like he has a lot of ties to like the hand and stuff like that. So that'd be interesting. But who knows? It's probably no one important. It's probably a completely original character and probably won't matter because it'll get killed off in a flashback and then there you go. But one can
Uh,
hope. One can hope that there'll be a cool twist on that. We'll see.
yeah. So we cut to back to Sinister, and Sinister just a
Still playing with
lot.
his like weird double
Yep.
helix holograms. Like
Yeah.
he is every time they cut to him in these issues, like even in the previous ones, he's like always got like floating like CG or holographic renderings of like
Yep.
double helixes and like DNA structures. He's
Yep.
just playing with them. It's like, what are you
So
doing?
weird. Like Iron Man, but with DNA.
Yeah, yeah, it is kind of like when he's like building stuff and playing around. It's just like that, but with
So
DNA.
weird.
It is. It totally is that. That's
Yeah.
spot on.
Yeah. But he's just all like, I'm growing tired of you bringing tragedy to my doorstep. And she's just like, I bring purpose and I brought cable.
And he's like, ooh, Cable. Both
I-
Summers and Gray DNA in one person. Oh my! Too bad if I do.
that's your
This is my life's work.
Yes.
He just starts, I picture him. He just picks
Yes.
him up and holds him like a baby, and he's just stroking his face. He's like,
Like,
"Aren't you just the perfection of mutant like genetic tampering?" uh, can I get some of your blood? Why do you bring me to Sinisters? I told you this guy creeps me the fuck out. First time I said hi to him, he put a cotton swab in my mouth.
uh, but essentially, She's all like, "Yo, I need a team. This is my team. Here it is. We're gonna be on the down low. That is that. You cool? Cool. More or
Yes,
less." But she's like, "We're gonna,
she's
yeah,
declaring war against Apoth, and she's like, we're gonna get to
shh,
the bottom of all this. Like,
yeah,
fuck the greater. Like, this is actually one of the few stories, or actually the only story I think that truly does not really hold any weight in the greater X-Men story right now, because this is literally just them doing their own little side thing, and there's no
yes,
ties to like how it fits in the bigger X-Men universe. I mean, maybe in the end they'll reveal that, but right now it seems like it's all focused on trying to flush out Psylocke's path or
yeah,
past and her current path forward.
pretty
And she's
much,
brought
yeah."
X-23 and little young Nathan on with her to have at it. A plucky team of murderers.
Like you see her murderers, yeah. She just
Young and
wants to.
upcoming murder.
That's her goal. She wants to find and kill Apoth, right?
Yep.
And she just wants the council to know about it. But we move on, and uh, she's just like, "Find me others. Find me more. I need more people to trust." Uh,
So she's trying to like kind of add to the roster.
yeah, she wants to add to her roster, and she's building up a team essentially, and she wants to train up these people, these younglings. Which I guess Laura's kind of. I mean, she's just been training with like Logan, pretty much,
Yeah, and
more or
Cable like
less, and
lived in a
Cable.
war timeline, so
So he knows some, but he's not like old Cable. He's
oh,
like,
that's true. That's true. I guess
yeah,
younger Cable is still, but I mean, from the time he was a kid to the time he went to the future, when he's like day one when he was transplanted to the future, I mean
yeah.
that was a war torn society that he grew up in. So even like how old would you say he is right now? Like what, 20,
I would
19,
say he's like 19 to 20. Yeah.
and that kind of range, like just about like leaving his teens into his early 20s, like
Yes.
so that would mean that he had almost like fucking 17, 16 years of just straight wartime exposure. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean
For
some
sure.
people who serve in the military only serve for 4 years. He's
True.
spent like literally four times that. So maybe he's a little more badass than he lets on. I mean, I never read the story where he killed the old Cable, but he'd have to be pretty badass to take him down. I don't
Yeah.
know, because that dude was gristled and like gray, like he was set in stone like a rock, chiseled. Like you couldn't.
Mm.
That guy was. He took on the entire Avengers crew in that Ascension arc. That
Mhm.
was like the lead into Avengers vs X Men, and he beat all of them. He like murked all of them. It was crazy. I was just like, what? Cable's awesome.
Yeah.
And then they tied it into Avengers vs X Men, and I was like, oh well, this story's tainted now. Took the wind out of that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Um.
But who do you think they're gonna add to this team?
Oh man, who do I want to see on this team?
Who's gonna be the new butterfly? Because they're not gonna be caterpillars, as she said.
Right.
I will make you into butterflies.
I wonder if they're gonna add any new people. This would be if they're gonna add any new characters. This would be the team to add them on. I
No
think.
way. No way they're gonna add new characters.
You
They're
don't think
they're
so?
they're going through a machine of like pulling out
So
like
many.
greatest
There's
hits and shit.
so many.
Dude,
Yeah.
they're gonna churn out a new character. Or well maybe, because I mean there could be a character that lived on Genosha that died and they'll resurrect them and bring them back. But
Sure.
I mean they're churning out all these interesting characters. Like I
Dude,
I, dude,
give me
I
the
don't know.
story. Give me the story of that gold and silver like
Oh, those
Morla.
weird
Those weird
twins that
ones.
were
Yeah, the
yeah,
twins that they
in
saved
Russia.
in X-Men '1. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what those guys are about. Or bring back Dupe. Let's get Dupe on this team.
Dude, it's happening.
The strongest
Dude.
mutant ever. Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus. Or Forget Me Not.
Forget me not. Yeah, he's
Oh,
the oldest mutant. We
yeah.
just forgot about him. So weird.
He was in the like they had like an X Force mission or something with him, or
Yeah.
like one mission where it was like he saved all of the world and like instantly they all forgot about him. And
Yeah.
they're all celebrating, like, we'll never forget about you. You're the greatest mutant that ever lived. And then they turned around and they're like, what are we doing here?
Yep.
Is the mutant power to instantly be forgotten the
That's
second
crazy.
you stop looking at him? It's like, what?
That
I
is,
like that though. I like stories like that. That's rare and bizarre. I
dude.
do feel though that they're gonna go down like an X Force route with this. It's just gonna be like a gritty hit team that's assembled. Like
Yeah.
who isn't roughly like an analog to another character like that could fit on this team? Who's like a light version of someone? They could
Uh,
put one of the Cuckoos on here because
the Cuckoos, yeah,
they're like a standoff kind of version of Emma Frost. So maybe they get one of them, and maybe they resurrect one of them because there was like 5 of them. They
yeah.
only have
Get
3
more.
right now.
Bring
So
back.
bring back one of them and put one of them on this team. Well, but then Psylocke is a very powerful psychic, so that would be almost redundant. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's get like
Siren, she was an original
Siren
fallen
would be
angel,
too bad.
and she's a step down version of Banshee.
There
There
you
you go.
go.
She was originally in the original volume of Fallen Angels. So with
Mm.
Devil Dinosaur
Dinosaur people.
and Moon Boy. Oh God,
Let's get Franklin Richards on the team.
he's on Fallen Angel.
Like you're not falling, you're like the rising sun, man.
Yeah. Oh man, when that clash, I want to see when that comes to head and like he has to throw down against the mutants.
Right?
Who's gonna go against Franklin Richards though? Like,
No one.
because Nate Gray's gone. I mean, Legion's pretty powerful, but
Legion, if he could get his shit together.
he's too. Yeah, as I say, he's too fractured. So I don't know how that would work. Proteus is too limited. He's powerful, but only in like a short range.
In this like isolated kind of
Yeah.
space, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, oh, in a 40-foot radius or like a 10-foot radius, I'm gone.
If
Like,
only
all right.
there was some way I could use this in a contained space to warp reality in the future.
Save myself. Whoops. Yeah. Or Jamie Madrox is pretty crazy, but he's still not not on a Franklin level. So
No, he's not on the Franklin level.
I say only X-Man was the only one who could raise a candle.
X-Man, yeah.
They burnt him out going into this arc. Or I don't know, because that's when they rebooted or like just put a stop on all the X-Men stories.
Yeah.
When they shifted over to Dawn X, they killed everything. Like all the writers that were a part of all that stuff just got shit canned. So does that mean that the Dawn of X story, that anything that led into it, like immediately is gone? Like that
See,
whole
I don't know
the
how it
whole
works.
age of or whatever they called it when he was ruling. Remember he created his own horsemen, like Magneto was one of his horsemen, and some other people.
Yeah.
Who's the Blob? The Blob was one of his horsemen. I just remembered that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I don't even know what's going on with any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I think that probably ended in a way where they just kind of closed it off and they were just like, all right, we're moving on.
Weird. That would be my guess. Like up to that run, right? So like if it gets canceled mid-run and we start a new thing, they reboot from there. Anything happening during that run, if it did not end before that run, up to that run, before
Probably gets thrown away.
Gets tossed out at the door. Would be my guess. Or
yeah,
I would. Yeah, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, that would be the logical way, because then it's like, why are you going to build off a story you never finished? That would be confusing as hell.
But then we end with her with like this kind of cheesy line. It kind of ends cheesy. She's just all like, "Your caterpillar's glistening and soft, but I can make you butterflies." And she's like looking in the sunset, silhouetted.
Yeah, cheese as fuck. That's what I was
cheese
jabbing at it earlier with the, oh, you guys are butterflies. They're so deadly.
Yeah.
It's like, butterflies only deadly if you accidentally eat one, and if it's a poisonous one. This butterflies aren't even really poison.
Yeah.
So really, depending on which butterfly you're dealing with, it's the least deadliest thing you could fight.
Yeah.
I mean, at least moths unanimously all eat your clothes, so I mean, like, t-shirts have something to fear. Butterflies literally are gonna hurt nothing.
Yes.
They just pollinate. They stimulate nature. Oh man, I like the artwork in this. Story was weird. The character development is interesting. I'm willing to see where it goes, but I'm baffled by the title. This is definitely a bit of a
title. Yeah, like, what do the characters have to do with this title? With this, why resurrect this book? Why not make a new book?
I would say this would be the redheaded stepchild of the X-Men family. I mean, Marauders, as weird as that one is, I'm more excited to see where that story goes and less with this, because it's just like, okay, this is just going to be a Psylocke rebuild arc. Like, this whole Fallen Angel series is just going to be about Psylocke and her past and like flushing that out.
It seems like it. At least this first arc. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? But that concludes this issue. Besides the weirdness, anything stand out to you?
Mm, uh, I I can't say that anything really stood out that was cool because it felt too much like an X-Force issue. Like all the like team like building and throwing down shit where it got grimy and like doing like espionage and like zero dark missions and stuff like that. That's kind of an X-Force vibe. So it's almost like it felt like they could have continued this story in or put it a part of X-Force and told it on top of it in like a greater, larger issue. But I guess they just ran out of room and they couldn't fit it in. So they're like, fuck it, let's put it on Fallen Angels. Because no one's used that fucking title since the 80s. And no one will care, right? Because it's not
Pretty
relevant.
much. That's what I feel. That's how I
Yeah.
feel this went down.
Yeah. Like, because I mean, I don't know. I guess this is my counter to that. I'm not mad that they did it because at least it's an original. It's like it's an actual name, and they're
Yeah,
just not calling it X-Men Blue, X-Men Purple, X-Men Red, X-Men Gold.
exactly.
It's like X-Men, like Black Watch Plaid. Like, who gives a shit? Like, stop throwing color palettes on my X-Men teams and saying that that's the title. Like, just write, you
Right
know,
title. Build, make a
As-
name.
Astonishing X-Men, Uncanny X-Men. Like, I'm fine with those. You've been using them for years. Like, Spendiferous, Stupendous, Fantastimarastic X-Men. I don't care if that's verbose. You can be verbose with it. Just don't get lazy. Don't call it like, X-Men
Gold.
Purple. There
They
you
went.
go.
They went full Pokemon on that.
Exactly. We've got we've got a bunch of issues and we only have so many colors we could go through because the color spectrum only works one way. We're gonna have to start mixing and matching, and we'll get the right X-Men color to sell. Blue wasn't selling as much. Let's change its name. Let's cancel the issue, rebrand it. Issue 1, X-Men Violet.
Violet it
Dude, we
is.
sold 2 more issues. Violet it is. Because that's how the marketing goes at people
Yeah.
like Disney. Like that's how they do their marketing. They will skim that line and they will shave off as much as they can get to then rebrand and try to get some more money out of you.
Disney will take your money.
They definitely will.
Yeah. Um, my standout moment is that moment where Psylocke freaks out, and then you just got Laura just like, okay, we're winging this. All right, and she whips out her claws and like her
Yeah.
face is shrouded. That was a cool moment where she's like, all
Oh
right,
yeah.
let's do this.
Yeah, that
Um,
actually I agree. That was probably the height of like the whole issue.
but other than that, I'm like you. Nothing really stood out. It was kind of flat. But we learned a lot about Psylocke. So if you like Psylocke, this is going to
Did
be.
we?
I
Did we
think
really?
we learned about how she felt. I guess more than anything.
I never really knew too much about Quan to start with. I just knew that that's the person that Psylocke inhabited. That's all I ever really knew about her is that she would happen to be a mutant that had similar psychic powers or somewhat similar psychic powers,
Mhm.
and due through some weird MacGuffin of a storyline, they ended up in the same body because sometimes rebranding characters it's not easy enough to just give them a new look. You have to put them in a whole fucking new body. They're like we're really starting from square one on this character and that was all I really knew about her. So going into this, I was just like, okay, well, tell me about Kwan, and I'm like, all right, I guess she had a kid. I guess she had a tough life. I guess she was like a child like assassin. All right. Well, I kind of already gathered that. I mean, and a lot of people like X-23 and other various members throughout the X-Men mythos are pretty much child assassins as well. I mean, they're mutants. They're grown. A lot of them are used as like military weapons and assets from birth. Shit, that's the whole premise of like Russia for like 30, 40 years in the X-Men mythos. It's just like, oh, you're a mutant. We're taking you in, and you're gonna be a part of the military.
Yeah,
That's why Colossus got out. So I don't know. Like it just nothing too groundbreaking and nothing too captivating going on here with Kwan's development and just the Fallen Angels issue overall to really get me like hyped.
yeah, yeah. But we'll see. We shall see. And Fallen Angels, issue number 2, which will be in a month. So that'll be a while.
Yeah. Next, we're doing X-Men 2, I think. Issue number 2 of X-Men.
Next is, on our plate is X-Men issue number 2. That is right, folks. We're going back, and then X-Men issue number 2. We learned a little bit about Krakoa again. We learned,
Yeah.
we heard about the past of Krakoa somewhat, but we learned a little bit more. We get to see the, I guess you could say, the repercussions of Krakoa and what happened.
Yeah, and the whole Charles thing is kind of light in the issue 2 of X-Men.
Yes.
And then things kind of take off more after that, and then the next 2 issues to follow. But I mean, X-Men issue 2 on its own was actually still pretty good because they're like
Yeah.
diving into the Krakoan stuff, and it
Yeah.
felt a lot more like an actual storyline instead of just like the previous X-Men issue 1, where they're like, let's
Summer
reintroduce all these
family,
characters.
family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the summer's barbecue. this is this is some weird like Stepford Wives shit. What is happening?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited about that. X-Men. That was a good one. But that will do it for us this week. Any final thoughts on Fallen Angels, Danny?
Uh, hopefully it gets better.
Hopefully it gets better. But that'll do it for us this week, folks. We'll catch you next week. Be sure to follow us and all that jazz. Like and subscribe on iTunes. That would be lovely. And we will catch you next week. Remember, the robots will kill you, bitches. Get out of here. Go eat some dinner.
Or
Peace.
breakfast.
Or breakfast. I don't know
Or
where you
lunch.
are or what time it is in your life. Yeah. Who knows? But do it. Eat something right now.